Alright, so we are all set up. Alright. Yeah, alright, cool. It was acting weirdly for a bit, but seems things are functioning now. So, last time we did a whole lot of unlocking oil and such, and now we have to start making a power plant. We're going to unlock industrial manufacturing, but we don't need to. So instead, let's go to the MAM, and I scanned a bunch of hard drives, and re-rolled a bunch of hard drives. And I was just barely able to get diluted packaged fuel and heavy oil residue. So we take those two recipes, and I think, for now at least, the rest of these aren't necessary. So we're just going to leave these. I have a lot more hard drive scanning to do, so it's going to be helpful to leave those in to increase the odds of getting what I want later. But of course, for now, we just need to get started with the actual production. So I think we're going to head down to the same oil spot as last time, which is along the southwest. Well, it's along the west coast, right about in the middle of the map. And I guess ziplining is still going to be more convenient than jetpacking for this particular trip, since I have these power poles going out there. So let's make our way over, and I'm going to have to do the math to figure out how much we're making. The answer is obviously as much as possible. So we need oil, we need water. I guess technically bringing in sulfur and coal could help, like we can make turbo fuel that way, which would be even more efficient. I don't know if I want to bring in that much sulfur and coal. If it's like right around here, I might use it. Alright, let's do a scan. Is there any sulfur in the immediate vicinity? Apparently not. Absolute crickets. Alright. The sulfur is pretty far away. Is the coal also pretty far away? What? Why did that ping almost immediately? That's not how the scanner works. Alright, yeah, it's all pretty far away. We're just gonna do regular old diluted fuel. And as always, we can bring in to make this turbo fuel later if we need to. Which with the scale we're going at here, we might need to. So instead, let's do a crude oil scan. And we have that pure node, that normal node, and then the one that we have already used some of. Which I do think we're going to leave this one be as it is, at least for now. Just because I need the packaged fuel from this. I need the plastic and rubber from it as well. How is this going? Almost filled up. Cool. Alright, so let's just immediately rescan because I've forgotten where it is. Is that a hard drive over there? I think it is. So the normal one is there, the pure one is there. Let's grab power and head over this way. Ah, the jetpack. It's so nice being able to just fly over the water like that. Alright, it's possible that I've been through this area searching for... Yeah, I've obviously removed that one. Alright. So, production, oil extractor. And that is a lot of oil. I can make it 300 with a power shard. And I can grab the other one to make that 600. And then we have that one and that one. Yeah, there's a lot of oil around here. And I think I probably just want to use all of it. Now I don't have the pipes to go completely crazy with like max overclocking these. But we can still get a good solid like 900 oil, which is quite a lot. And then the last one is... There's another normal node somewhere around here, but it is not showing on the scanner. Alright, so we need to overclock this up to 300 and pipe it over here. Then, because I think we're going to build over on this island, or above it, rather. So bring that pipe along to somewhere around there. Then we need to attach that up to the power line, which I've just strategically placed right next to it without attaching to. So there we go. That's hooked up. So now we have this fun little pipeline. And we have this patch of oil as well. I could have sworn there was a third unused oil node around here. Yes, it's there. And I believe it's a normal node, which we can just overclock to be basically the same thing. Alright. Oil extractor in. And I need... Actually, did I ever get ability to do summer sloops? Yes, but I need like a billion sand fluctuators. I guess I better do that because it's just going to be more efficient to sloop a constructor than it is to craft the power shards manually. So we're just going to have to sit here for a bit crafting sand fluctuators. We need 100 of them for this. So up we go. Dimensional storage is hopefully going to... It's definitely not going to be able to keep up all the way, but hopefully it should at least recover fairly quickly and then we can go again. So yeah, when we started, we were able to craft 50, and we managed to get up to 66. Alright, so we have those. Then we have this, which we're going to bring the pipe over, and then return back with for the summer sloops. Alright, so we have all of these. And now we just need to get some ramps in. So up we go. And this area is very flat. So having it be nice and low to the ground like this, should be fine. Alright, so we expand this out. It's a nice starter platform at least. And now we just bring the pipes up onto the starter platform. And please don't be pointing in a weird way. Alright, so we have 3 pipes up here. And hopefully we can finish crafting our SAM fluctuators. So we head over here. Has it been long enough? Maybe, but probably not. It's going to depend on how fast they regenerate during the crafting. Looks like we might be a couple short. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, we're at 96 out of 100. It's basically there. So let's just wait around a little bit. And finish them off. Alright, there's all 100. Alien technology. Production amplifier. And crafted. Cool.
Production amplifier.
Now we have
unlocked.
that.
Every single manufacturing and smelting building will be backwards compatible with this new technology.
A constructor.
These buildings can now have a summer sloop embedded to increase resource output without requiring more input at
And
the cost of greatly
we
increased power
should
consumption.
put in like one cycle of some other recipe first. So let's take some of this random mycelia we have. Make some biomass. Alright, cool. That's active now.
I think they're trying to explain energy to matter conversion theory, but you do not need to understand it to do your job.
Now we put
I'll
our
just
power
mute
slugs
them for
in
you so you
and
can
get a
continue
whole
your
lot of
mission.
shards.
I, however, will be taking notes. This is fascinating material.
Nice if I could use if I had power shards now, so I could put them in this to speed it up a little bit. I'm gonna get 20 off of this. It's pretty good. Oh no, it's already accounting for the 10, I think. Alright. You accelerate as fast as possible. It doesn't seem to be going much faster than it was. Alright. That's those. Now we can do that power shard 2 recipe, put the yellow slugs in, get even more. And in the meantime, we can get these set up. So you need the full batch to get up to 300 a minute. And get powered on. Yeah, plenty of power shards for the foreseeable future through the power of summer sloops. And do I even have any blue slugs? I don't see any blue slugs. I'll place that, yeah. I don't see any blue slugs. Alright, so now we can just take that apart. Don't need it anymore. So we have this one, which is set to 300. We have to make sure the other ones are as well. Alright, then we have this one, which we can set to 300. And I believe that far one we already did. So we have these. Now, step 1 is converting all of these to heavy oil residue. So let's get a refinery down, heavy oil residue, and it's 30 crude oil. So if we have 10 of these, we're going to need 30 refineries at 30 each in order for this to work, which is quite a lot. So we're going to blueprint that. Alright, I need to place down Blueprint Designer. Blueprint Designer, and then refineries. So we get, preferably these could come in batches like divisible by 10 or something. Is that a good placement for it? We need some pipes on the input and output. We need more pipes on, we need more space on the output side than the input side, because there's only one input and there's two outputs. So let's give that like a full block, and then that can have like half a block. Shift it a little bit like that, just so that there is still some space on either side. Let's call that good. Alright, heavy oil residue. Then we see how many of these we can fit in. The answer is 3, which means we're going to have to place, like, what, 10 of these sets of blueprints. It's actually going to be a bit more awkward because, like, these come in batches of 300. This is doing stuff in batches of 90, which doesn't evenly go into 300. And I really don't want to make these systems more complicated than they need to be. So I would really like this to go more evenly. So 300 divided by 80? No. 70? 60? Yeah, so if we just do 2 of them in a blueprint, then we can place 5 blueprints per pipe, and that will be nice and even. Having 3 of them in a blueprint would be 3 blueprints per pipe plus 1 spare, which I guess isn't that much harder, realistically. So let's just do that then. Alright, so now we need the pipes themselves, which go there and across to there. Then we get 1, 2, 3, and we attach all these in like so. We make sure that these are set up properly. Alright, so that is that. Now we have to deal with the output. So first, the polymer resin, which I think we will... How much polymer resin is this? 20 per minute. So 20 times... what? We're having 60 per blueprint, which is a convenient number. And then 3 blueprints per batch, so 180. So 200 per set. So we're looking at 600 polymer resin total, which is barely more than 1 belt, but should be fine to just merge all up into 1 belt and then deal with the extra like 120 spare above belt capacity just on its own. So be be real nice if we could do something like that. Something like that for the auto-connect purposes. Alright, so that is that all set up. Now for the pipes. The pipes go here, I guess, and they go up to max height. So something like that. And then we put the junctions in. It's not like auto snapping in properly, probably because it's so far away, but it's fine though. Snap these, slope down in there, and done. Alright, so with that, the only thing that we can do here is just I keep hitting Alt to change the tabs because that's Foundry. So the only thing left to do is to just put in a power pole, connect all of these guys up to it, so that we can save that little bit of effort as well. So this is a 3x refinery and heavy oil residue recipe. We're just going to save that. Alright, so we have that. Now we just need to place a whole bunch of these. So we have one spare. And this goes in, facing this way. And what we need is for that to line up like that. Alright, so that goes in. Then we just have to run the pipe along the front, connect that in, and attach it into the oil supply. Then we go to the back, and send that out, connect all that up, and I guess we can just use a sink here. Although actually I think what I actually want is a storage container. So with this, I can then have like basically I did this wrong. Take the container out. We want some space here, just because this is going to be for something completely separate in the future. So we have a smart splitter, which goes to a sink there, and it's left overflow center any, and a storage container there. So now, when we need polymer resin for something, we have a massive supply of the stuff here. And we just need to hook this last one up. Alright, so that is that. Now we just need to put in the other 2 copies of the blueprint. Hopefully auto snap mode will work. And we need to expand this space out for them. So that goes out there. Then we go 3x refinery. Rotate it that way. Build mode. Blueprint auto connect, I guess. And then that's lined up that way. That's lined up that way. And we place it in. Alright, then we just need 1 more of these. Blueprints, 3x refinery. And get it there so that it's not clipping or anything. And place it. Alright, so this is all the refineries for one of the pipes. And just going to confirm that the back side's hooked up to... Yeah, this all looks good. And so this needs to be Mark III belts in order to keep up. Which I probably should have just done the math on and figured out to begin with. But it's fine. Mark III belts all the way. And there. This last bit is gonna... Well, let's see. If it's a total of 600, then yeah, we do need this to be Mark IV, and then we need like the last row to be separate. Because this is 180. Then the next one adding on to this will be 360 total. Which means actually this needs to be Mark IV as well. And then we can put in like a merger there for the next row. And cool. Alright, now we just have to set this up again. So we grab the 3x refinery blueprint and we want to place it down. Okay, not auto connect mode. That's going to cause chaos if we try that. Alright, so that is lined up vertically like that. Should still be plenty of room for pipes to get out. So we're going to put that in. Then go again here. How does this have to line up? What is that? Why would you do that? I really wish there was a way of saying like that specific thing doesn't auto-connect. And it's still going to be worth doing. Just going to have to remove that one pipe. Alright. You go away. So that is 2 of these blueprints, and we just need the 3rd. No, clicked on the wrong one. Okay, also this is going over the edge. Let's put the floor in underneath that. And also underneath this new area that we're building, the next one. Also, apparently the last one went over the edge as well. Let's cover that up. Alright. Build mode default, auto connect. Somewhere in that general vicinity, and then we're going to nudge it to line up. That lines up there. Then we squish it over that way. And in they go. Alright. That was reasonably successful. Now we get to check this side, and it did fine. And now we need row 3. We also need to hook this up to the sink. So let's get all this along. A nice big space over here. The amount of generators we're going to need for this is absolutely insane, by the way. It's going to be like a billion. I think this is going to be the largest fuel power plant that I've ever made. I've done 600 crude oil before. This is 900. Alright, that should be enough space. We might need one more. But we also need to do the last refinery, which I guess we can just do manually later. Okay, so this nudges in to line up that way. And I guess I'll bring it a little bit closer. Nah, just leave this space. Never know when you might need it. And then place it in. Destroy that. And then we get the next one in. Place that in, and destroy that, and one more. And it goes there, and no need to destroy the last weird connection. Alright. So that's all that. Now we just need to do the last bit of hooking up. So these belts need to all be Mark III. Technically not all of them. These first couple would be fine, but oh gosh, there are 3 sets of belts in this. I think I probably messed that up on the previous one. Alright, so let's just go along there. And now you can merge in. Actually, there is fine. Alright, now we have to head back here and fix these belts. Fortunately, the difference between Mark 1 and 3 is quite visible. Alright, so we got all those. So now that's 360, I think. Or no, it's 400. Right, 200 from that one, 200 from this one. Oh, wait. Obviously, we need to put the refinery in for the last one. This is important, otherwise everything would be wrong. So that goes there. That goes there. Recipes are set up properly. Then we get the merger. And this goes across to that. Then we have this, which no, doesn't do that. Meant to place it there. And pipe that in. Oh, I just realized a problem. This outputs more heavy oil residue than the crude oil it inputs, which means that these nice batches are going to have to be split, which is ultimately fine. So the thing you always want to avoid is having more than 300 in a pipe. If these can be pipes of 200, then that is fine, and I think that's actually what I did last time I built this. Alright, now we just have to get over here and hook this one up. You accidentally hit the wrong button and open the debug menu. Classic. Alright, so that is all set up. Then we just need to do this last one, and it is also going to need its own special output. The belts won't be fast enough otherwise. Alright, now we come around here. And you get a conveyor merger. I haven't even upgraded these ones yet. Alright, now we finished the pipeline out. And in it goes. Alright. Now we have to just make the sink for this one. And this one's just going to go directly into a sink. So that goes into that. And now we have to go along upgrading all of these belts. That one gets the upgrade, that one gets the upgrade. That one gets the 3-part upgrade. 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 3-part upgrade. 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 And that's the end of the line. Alright. So now we have a lot of heavy oil residue. And what we need to do now is split these into batches of 200. Actually, let's figure out what the next step is first. That would be reasonable. So we have all this heavy oil residue. The next step is diluted packaged fuel. So we just need to bring this straight to refineries, which take 30 per minute. Okay, so if the refineries take 30 per minute, and these make 40 per minute, then the most convenient would be batches of 3 of these, right? So we take 3, that's 120, which is 4 refineries for the packaging. So we would go, 9 batches of 3, and then, so like each of these would be a batch of 3, and then we would have the end row would come together to form the last batch of 3. And then that would be all of that. So yeah, that works out nicely, and also means that I really didn't need to have these blueprints be auto-connected at all. And in fact, I am actually just going to... Well, no, I needed to auto-connect the solid output, and I needed to auto-connect the input, so it's fine. But we just split these off into batches of 3. So that's a batch of 3, that's a batch of 3. And then this is a batch of 3. And the last one is on its own. Alright, so now we come along here. Dismantle you. And then we have 1, 2, 3. Another batch. 1, 2, 3. And another one, and then 1, 2, 3. Alright, now we come along here to this row, and we do the same thing. Alright. Now we just need to merge up the end pieces. Also, this is cursed. I need to fix that. It's going to bug me otherwise. So that has to go across there. Line up like that. And in. Alright, fantastic. Now, we need to take the outputs for this final row and merge them all together. Which is probably just going to go directly along here. Which we need more foundations for, apparently. So we put foundations in there. Then we get pipeline goes there. And along this way, it goes up to max height. And that pipe is too short, so we're going to have to dismantle that and replace it. Then put that one in, dismantle that and replace it. And now this continues to go along. And that goes in, that gets dismantled and replaced. Alright, so now we have 10 groups of 3. And we just need to refine them. So this diluted package fuel recipe has 2 inputs and 1 solid output, which means we're going to have to set up a new blueprint for it. So let's make some space for a blueprint designer, go off over this way. So blueprint designer goes in. And then these refineries, so these are formed up into batches of 3, which produce 120. I think these ones need to be in batches of 2. And then it's 2 batches of this per 1 batch of those. Just because it's not going to be practical to get batches of 4 in here. Alright, fortunately the outputs for these are very simple. So, diluted packaged fuel. We need a solid input, which goes along this way. It has to be a splitter. And it is 60 per minute, which means that the load balancing just simply works. There's no need to worry about it, it just works. And the input for each of these batches, there's going to be 4 of them, which means 240 packaged water, which means Mark III belts are sufficient for the main line. And we just need those to go in like that. I think I actually want that to be shorter, just to make sure that there's space for them to auto-connect properly. Then we have this pipe, which goes along this way. And that's not going to be long enough, is it? No, it has to go all the way to past that. So let's put that in there. And then we can make this side shorter, actually. Man, I keep dismantling this poor pipe. So this side only has to go to here, which will help in... There has to be a little bit of space for the auto-connect to find it, basically. So then these go down. The pipes go in. And then we make it around this side, which... Oh no. All of that, and we are one single nudge too far to the side. That's infuriating. Alright, we can save most of this. So we just have to take that bit out, take the refinery out, move it in just like that. Should be good enough. And now those connect in. Those connect in. All still works. And now we can come over here and fit in the mergers. So and that goes there. Those go in. And the 60 output. So these are coming in batches of 4, right? So Mark III belts still sufficient. Make sure all of these belts are Mark III, including that one. And cool, now we just put in a power pole to save some trouble in the future. Goes there. Connects into those two. And done. Actually, did I set the recipes in these? I did for one of them, but not the other. Alright, so this is 2x refinery diluted packaged fuel recipe. So I can use these blueprints for other things as long as they have the right inputs and outputs. Alright, so we have all that. The next thing we need to do is we need to figure out where exactly we're building this. And actually, I guess we should go back a step and hook these oil pipes in. So we have one of them hooked in. And actually, it's going to be more convenient for that to be the one that's hooked into that. If for these two to do their own thing around the sides. So these go over here and over here. Although maybe having them go through the other side would be more convenient since this side is a bit crowded. Yeah, I think that's probably correct. So we're going to take these out. And in that case, we actually do want that one to be the one going in. Meanwhile, these two can come over this way. And over that way. And they just keep going around. And they just keep going around. Alright, then that one goes there. And this one comes around this way. Before going in there. Alright, so that is the oil attached up. You can see that these pipes should be filling soon. It just takes a little bit. Alright, so we have all that. Now, we need to get these somewhere else convenient. And because this is so fluid based, I would prefer to keep this relatively flat so that I don't need to worry about, you know, all the nightmares involving pumps. Although we might have no choice, realistically. But let's just create the setup over there. Over here, and then bring these pipes along. Should have enough space, especially if you use stacking pipeline supports. Alright, that guy over there is probably going to need to leave. So we head over here, give some space for all that. Then we expand this foundation out. And also expand it out a little bit that way, although hopefully we won't need to, because there are hills over there. It's a bit more annoying. Alright, so how do we want to lay this out? Facing like the same orientation as that would probably make sense. So actually, if we have these like rotated, so that input pipe can be, so that output pipe can be the input pipe for this. That makes sense. So let's have those like that. And in you go. Alright, now we just need to line these up. Alright, so that's one batch. Then we need another batch, which isn't connected. So that, and then auto connect this one, and we're going to need more space. So let's expand this out. And And this lines up like that and goes out there and connects up. So now we have 2 batches of 4. We need 1 more batch of 4 for this, which is just build mode default because we don't want the pipes connecting up. But we're going to have to do some other connecting. Also, we need to... Yeah, we need the floor there that I can stand on and look at the stuff. Alright, so now we have that. Now I can put this in. And there we go. And then this connects to it. Alright. So that's all that. And that is 1 row. So one row is set up. Now we need to get those over there. Which is going to be those pipes in the way. Alright, fortunately we have the jetpack so we can fly and it's not really a concern. So first of all we just go there. Then this next one can stackable pipeline. Yeah, we can build this over here, I guess. How's the factory? The factory is going great. We are building a gargantuan diluted packaged fuel factory. And we are just doing all this stuff. Alright, then this also comes out there. So then these 2 come along. And let's get more of these supports over here. And then drag them across. Do you have the power to get it started? Hopefully. I have batteries and I can place more. So we will see. Yeah, that is very much a concern. Yeah, it should be okay, but I should probably place some more batteries just to be sure. Let's just go over here and power storage. All right, just get a whole bunch of these in. And keep on placing them. And sure, let's go a second row, I guess. Alright, and that's all the wire we have. So now let's start attaching these batteries up. And hopefully that just works. And hopefully they'll get enough charge during this. Alright, so those are all hooked up now. Yep, batteries are now filling. Cool. Alright, so yeah. That should help. Now, back to what we were doing, which was attaching these pipes in. So this goes in there. And this keeps coming along. And then goes in there. Alright. That is that. That's one row set up. Now we need to run the packaged water into this row, but I think we're just going to finish up getting the heavy oil residue set up first. So, second row, the bean's going to have to move. Is it possible for you to leave? Probably not. I wonder if explosives are faster than the Xeno Zapper. Certainly seems to be reacting more to them. Hard to say. I'm just gonna have to zap him until he goes away. Alright. He seems to have stood up.
FICSIT does not pay you for cruelty.
Does she normally spell out fix it? Don't you normally just say fix it? Alright. I just need this guy to leave so that I can build here. That would be nice. Please. Any second now. This is the problem with building so close to the ground. Also, the problem with having only the Xeno Zapper as a weapon. It actually takes forever. Hello? Is he like invincible or something? I feel like this is taking longer than normal. Alright, he's gone. We've done it. We've killed the bean. Alright, now we keep on placing the refineries. So these go in. They need to line up. Because there's a bit less space in here than I might like. But it's probably fine. So then that goes there, and while I'm placing new rows, I may as well place the first of this new row. Which goes there. Alright. Cool, that's all set up. Now we get those in. So we do that. And we're going to need... This hill is going to be in the way, isn't it? Oh, that's annoying. This hill is 1000% going to be a problem. Because, yeah, we go out to, like, here, which means the last one in this row is going to be, like, up on a ramp, I guess. Alright. All of these creatures are in the way. Please leave. I'm just trying to construct a factory here. I don't even want to kill you guys, you just keep standing there. Alright, so that ramp goes up there. And is that enough space? No, we need another ramp. Bro, how... Go away. Can you please leave? Alright, then all of these go in. And now this ramp is high up enough It's also probably high up enough that we're going to have to use pumps, which is annoying. Grab another power slug. And expand that out a little bit. Alright, now we go back to this. So these need to be this set up. And how do you get them? Are they organized like this? Yes, technically these are like... Oh yeah, I remember now, I deliberately made these backwards. I was like, why are they backwards? Because I did that on purpose, that's why. Alright, so that... And then one more of these. And this one is auto-connected into there. I'm going to need to run around this side to make sure it didn't do anything clever. Alright, now these are only belts on this side, so it's fine. Alright, then we need one more batch of these, which are going to go up there, I guess. We need to expand the ramp out to up here. And also up there. And we need one more for that. Alright, that should be serviceable. Now we place in the last batch of 2. So like this. And we should be able to line this up based on the positions on the foundations. Alright, that looks lined up to me. It's hard to tell. But we're going to put it in. And then one more on auto connect mode. Like that, and done. Alright. So that's that, and we're going to need to do some more attaching, of course. But we also need to do this last row. So we have 1. Then we get this in, which just goes there. Then we go to default build mode to keep these batches separate. And we go there. And there. And then we have to go up here again. So we have to expand that out by another couple rows. And put this in. Alright, this has to be lined up like that. Why is there invalid placement? There's like a sulfur rock down here, which makes it illegal to place anything on the foundations above it. So let's get rid of this. There we go. Gone. Now we get back up here. Alright, then this has to line up like that. And also line up with the other ones up here. It goes in there, and then we get that one in, and done. All right. So now we have to hook all of these up. So we go all the way across here. First one is easy, it just goes there. Second one is harder. We need stackable pipeline support, which just goes up 2. And then that one and that one go in. Okay, that clips a little bit, so you're going to have to come out first and then go in. Then we need to... Yeah, so those can go quite a ways, so we're going to just get another stackable pipeline support over here. And they go across. Okay, now this one comes along like there, and then in there. And then this one goes along and it doesn't clip in. That would be silly. Why would it do that? It goes along and actually gains some height because it needs to get up there. Right, then we need another one here. And along there. And in. Alright, then we get rid of that. And that's that row piped up. Then finally we need to do this last row. So we get these, that just goes across. Then we go over here. We get the pipeline support. That goes in. That needs to go up, not up that many. Then this comes out. And, gosh, please work. Then goes across into that. Then we get another stackable pipeline support over here. And we bring these across. Then this one goes along there and in. This one keeps its height and keeps going until eventually it goes in there. Alright. So that's all of those, and now there's just one left, which is this pipe over here needs to go into a batch of heavy oil residue packagers. So it is just going to come along over this way. I'm going to place that batch of packagers over here as well to keep it with the others. This just comes along. And it's going to have its own fun little row. I guess you can just put it here, actually. This is as good a spot as any, realistically. Assuming that it fits, which it should. These creatures really need to stop just wandering around in my factories. Alright, so then this just goes in basically however lined up with the previous one, and then bring it a little bit closer in, but not too much. Okay, now this pipe needs to go over there. And that is all 10 of these set up. So the next step is dealing with the inputs and the outputs. So this is all packaged fuel. And the inputs we need to deal with are packaged water. So let's start with the packaged fuel outputs. So that is 60 per machine, which is 240 per batch of 4, which is 480 per batch of 8. So I guess we can just form these up into maxed sized. There's not going to be that many belts if we make these all tier 4 belts, which is definitely very convenient. But I did preemptively set all of these to tier 3. And also we need to figure out where these are going. And we could just send them up a floor, because they're all solid. And that would sort of just solve the problem immediately. Yeah, let's send these up a floor. So we need basic wall. Go up a lot. Build a ladder up. And get on the ladder. Is this tall enough to get over the refineries, which are hilariously tall? Not yet. Build a couple more. This ladder is really weird. Alright, let's do that. Now are we high up enough? No, we need like one more. Let's go 2 more, just to make sure. Yeah, and now we're clear. Alright, so we have all this. So we're going to have to build out a fairly massive foundation up here. And we also need to figure out how exactly we're setting this up. Also, did we go high enough up to avoid those? No, we did not. It's fine. We can work around them the old-fashioned way. Or we could just go too higher up, but I think just working around those two should be relatively easy. Alright, so we drop down here. I shouldn't have done that. I need to stay up there to build the foundation over this. So let's build that foundation out. Another couple rows. Alright, now we have this. So this is by itself a tier 3 belt. It's 240. So if we send this up, it's going to hit right there. So we put that in, and that goes up. And we just have to do that for all of these. And then we will have a nice, convenient setup on the next floor. That goes there. And then comes down there. Alright, then we do this one, which we need to expand the foundation out to cover this. So now this goes up, and the hole goes in, and then this comes down. Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Alright, we can fix that by just removing that. And instead just having this come out directly from the lift. Now that should go in just fine. And I think just for the sake of having this be all aligned, we should do the same for these as well. Which is a bit annoying, but not a huge deal. So then this goes up there. And snaps in. Then this goes up there. And then snaps in. Alright, so we have all of those. And that's one row, that's 3 of them. We just have another 6 to go. Now we come back here. This is the next one. So this goes up there. Then the floor hole. And in. Then, wait. That's the wrong one. That is an input. There's not even supposed to be anything there. Alright, take that out. The actual third one is on the other side of this, I think. Yeah, no, that's also wrong. It's this one. So we take that out. Then this one goes up. And that comes down. Dismantle that. Okay, so we need to go this one. That comes out. That goes in. Ah, there is no foundation there. And I need to find my way up above the refineries so that I can see what I'm doing when I put the floor in. So that all goes in. And just like another row, just for safety. Alright, now we have this, which goes up. And floor hole. And back down. Alright, so now we have a full row of 3 of these done. Let's do another row of 3 of them. That's going to be starting with this one. we go here, take that out, take that out. Then this goes up. And floor hole goes in. Lift comes down. Alright. Then we go across here to this one, which belt goes up. That's the alignment. That goes in. And belt comes back down. Then we go across again, and... Oh, I already did that one? Alright, cool, I already did that one. Good for me, I guess. So now we have 6 of them. So we just need 4 left. 2 of them are the weird ones up there. One of them is this weird one, and one of them is the other weird one. Lots of weird ones here. Alright, so this foundation needs to come out here. So that can just go something like there for now. Then we take that out. Up you go. Floor hole in. Belt comes back down. Alright, so that's that weird one set up. Then we have this one, which isn't weird, but it's weird in the sense that it's the only one that's normal in this row. Alright, so that ceiling needs to expand out there. Then we dismantle that. Bring you up. Floor hole and down. Alright, then we just have these 2, which are going to be weird. Also, this belt is all messed up. It's definitely not even supposed to be there, right? That was an auto-connect gone wrong, I believe. Alright, so that's... What are we doing? Right. This has to go all the way out here, which is miles away. So that all goes there. Then this goes up. And floor hole and down. So that's that. And then one more is this one. So this comes across. And I think it might need to go one further. Then this comes out. And we put the last one in for these. And back down. Alright. If I haven't missed anything, that should be all 10. Alright, let's then just get a ladder so that we can access up here and count from up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, alright, cool. We've managed to count to 10 and not miss anything. So, with that all set up, now the next question is going to be the packaged water. So we need to package up a huge amount of water for this. And that will take some effort. So the packaged water needs to go in these splitters, and it needs to come in packs of 240. So that shouldn't be terribly difficult. Just confirm that I did the math wrong. Not that I did the math wrong, confirm that I did the math right. So that's 60, 120, 180, 240. So yeah, that is just 2 extractors per batch of 4. There are 10 batches of 4. So we need 20 extractors. Shouldn't be too bad. And also it's only ever going up to 240, which means we shouldn't have water problems with this. We shouldn't have pipes getting overfilled and jammed and stuff. We should have plenty of space in all the pipes. So let's set up the extractors. Well, we need to set up the packagers first, actually. So, packager, just theoretically, makes 60 water a minute. So that's actually just 1 packager per refinery, which is convenient. Means we need a whole lot of packagers. So let's get a blueprint machine somewhere over here to make batches of 4 packagers. And special blueprint designer Mark 1. In it goes. Alright. Packager. We need 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, that's exactly enough space. So we need these to be packaged water. Control C, may as well copy paste across. Alright, so this output is simple. It is just, may as well make it relatively compact. Boom, done. Input is also simple because it's, once again, automatically going to speed limit itself for me. Alright, so then, do we actually want the outputs to be, no, I think we actually want these to be their own separate things, which means no need for those. Then the inputs, we get splitters. Which way do I want these to be facing? I guess it doesn't really matter. We can just work with whatever we have. So we get splitter, 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 and splitter. And then send in the Mark 1 belts. And then the Tier 3 main belt. Alright, so that is that. Now we just need the water pipe, which can go out here and across. And just goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down a little bit and into the machines. So this takes 240 water, 200 empty canisters, and turns it into 240 packaged water, which is enough for exactly 1 set of those. And anything that I need to put in the power poles for convenience later. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, power poles attached. And, you know, I could set up the pipes on the output as well. And the reason, even though I don't need it now, I will need it for the fuel unpackaging. So I may as well make one blueprint instead of two. Still going to be quite compact and cost a little bit more copper sheets this way. Probably worth it. Alright, so then that is 4x packager, and description is water packaging recipe. Alright, so now we can dismantle that. And so we need 10 of those blueprints to go into these. Which, let's set up to go like a 5x2 maybe. We could go 3x3 plus 1 like we did with the refineries. Either one doesn't make a huge difference, I guess. Let's do 3x3 plus 1. It'll be more sensible that way. Also, yeah, let's just do them all up here on this level, so that if we need pumps, at least it'll be standardized. Alright, blueprints. 4x packager. No, that's not right. You need to be rotated this way. So that is the input on the left and the output on the right. Where are they going? They're going into these. So having them be lined up with that would make sense. So that's one. Then this can be the second row, which is slightly off-center on that foundation. And then the third row, I guess, would be back here. That's where these machines are. So let's expand this out. And then packagers. The default auto connect mode is not what I want for this. So we get them lined up like that. And then nudge them, I think, one more. I think that's correct. Alright, so we have that. And now we just need to expand these out that way. Which hopefully... Is there an edge of the map over here? We might be kind of close to it. We might be closing it on the edge of the map here, which would be annoying. Let's actually see. Because if I can build foundations out, then it should be fine. The ocean underneath us might be fake, though. That is something which I discovered when making my nuclear plant last time, is that water far from the shore is not necessarily real. Alright. And I think we need to expand one more that way, and one more that way. Alright, now we go to blueprints, 4x packager, and 2 and 3. And this one gets 2 and 3. And this one gets 2 and 3. And we've used up almost all of our steel beams, which is a bit of a problem. So we need one more of these, which I guess will be over here, because that's where that one is. I'm just going to need a little bit more space on this foundation. And packager. I don't know exactly where this is going, but somewhere over this way. And yeah, something like that. I don't know. Somewhere there-ish. If that's not exactly perfect, it doesn't really matter. Alright, so the packagers are all in. Now we need to connect them up. Although our steel beam supply is a bit low. Alright, so this is slightly off line from those over there, which I guess is fine. So we have this space in here to bring in the empty canisters, which have to go into these belts. Yeah, so that should be enough space for that. Then these belts go along there. So we have that one. Then we have this one, which straight mode preferably. Comes out there and then curves to face that way. And then this one, which does the same, but a little bit further out. Alright, now this. Oh, it's going to run into space problems with the other things. We need to squeeze these in just a little bit more. So that goes out. Instead, it's going to go like there. And this one is going to... No, still go straight mode, but just go like... No, why would you do that? That's not straight mode at all. I want you to go like... there. Okay, no, giving up on straight mode there. We're just going to curve mode over there and line up there. Alright, so now we just take this along and straight. Why does it want to do that? Why would that ever be what I want? Alright, then this comes along this way, and along that way, and then down into that. Then we grab this one and give it the same trip. This one comes along this way. And keep going. And then down onto the ground floor. Around there. Where it keeps going until it makes it into there, although I seem to have brought it too far. Alright, so this goes along there, and then in there. Alright, so then those will go across and have their packaged water. So that's one row of 3 finished. Now we have to go over here and do these ones. So these ones go just straight along and then down and in. Nice and easy. Then these ones come out a bit and then go along. These ones come out a bit more and then go there. Why are you curved slightly? I don't want you to curve slightly. I want you to be nice and straight. Alright, then these belts go there. And there. Then they go down. And now we just have to get them to the refineries. So that goes there and just into that. This one comes along, then veers into there now that there's space. And then there and into that. Alright, so that is a second row of packaged water done. 1 1/3 row left to go. This is the output, right? Yeah, that's the output. Don't need to worry about it being weird. Alright, so then this just goes directly in there. This one comes out to like there, and this one comes out to there. And now these two come along. And belt. And belt. I wonder if our steel beam production is going to be enough, or if we're going to have problems. It's looking quite close at the moment. We are almost done with this, however, so it might last. Alright, so that just goes immediately down into that. Then this comes down along here. And then in there, and in there. Alright, so that is that. Water packaging belts all placed in. Oh, wait, no, there's still that one left. The special one. Alright, so this one, I hope we have the steel beams for. Unfortunately, it's only one and not a batch of 3 or something. Let's expand this foundation out so we don't have to place this across the grass, which would be quite ugly. Get rid of that tree. And keep on going. Looks like we should make it. Should have enough steel beams for this. So I think that is not straight in like the most horrific possible way. It was just ever so slightly off. Yeah, it like curves, it like bends in and then out again. Oh well. Alright, so we have that. So that is all of the packaged water belts attached up. So, now we make packaged water. We make packaged water here. We send it into the diluted fuel setup. Then we make the packaged fuel and it goes up. So the only thing we need to do now is, so we need to add the water into the packaged waters. We need to unpackage the fuel. We need to send the canisters back down into these. And then we need to finish it up. And actually, speaking of sending the canisters down into those, we need to do one other thing, which is, you know, actually make the canisters. That's important. So, I want that to be starting now because we need to make a whole lot of canisters to make this entire thing work. So let's just go over here and build a quick foundation. And let's get, say, like 1, 2. No, actually, we need to make plastic first, so we need a refinery, and this is very much a temporary setup, right? Like, it only needs to make as many it only needs to make a finite number of canisters over the course of the entire game, so we can just have this be inefficient, and that's fine. So we need to make plastic. So that will make 20 plastic per minute, which then goes into a constructor, which makes empty canisters, which uses 30 plastic a minute and makes 60 canisters a minute. Alright, so then that goes into that. And the heavy oil residue can go into another refinery, which, gosh, this is very gross. Can you like go up and over that? Cool. Then the heavy oil residue goes into this refinery, which makes petroleum coke. And that should be plenty, and then sinks it. So then we get the sink, and that goes along. That belt might need to be Mark II. Alright, so then we have this, which we start off, we're just going to want to fill an industrial storage container. And yeah, let's then power all of this on so that it can get started. So that gets upgraded. That gets powered on. That gets powered on. That gets powered on. And the sink gets powered on. So we can set that to 40 a minute because that's all it's going to make. And there we go. Plastic is coming out. And so we are going to need to either manually move these canisters over, or hopefully we can figure out a way of like automatedly filling the belts. Although we're probably just going to end up doing it manually, unfortunately. Okay, so that is going. So now once that should provide us enough canisters. God, I don't even know if one industrial storage container is even going to be enough. I might put a second one in just to be absolutely sure. Blow up that shrubbery that's in the way. Second industrial storage container. And all the canisters in the world. And also a lot of petroleum coke, which is instantly being destroyed. Alright, so that is going now. So now we need to get up here and start doing the fuel unpackaging. So each of these is 240. 240 packaged fuel. So let's get... Let's get all this space in here. How big are these packager setups? I mean, they're going to be pretty big, right? So we need all this. So if we just put one of these in just for science, is the fuel packaging and unpackaging the same speed? No, it's only 40 a minute. Oh, but that's to package it. To unpackage it is 60 a minute. All right, cool. That's all we need. So that means that this row, one of these unpackages one of those. So we need to dismantle that because I don't think that's actually where I want to build it. All right, we expand that out. And we fill in some of these holes. We need to leave those because that's where the refineries are. So ultimately what we need is just to have 10 batches of packagers. And actually I think it'll be more convenient to just place them over here. Although the outputs for the packagers need to be over here, right? In this space. I mean, having the inputs all the way over there would not be the most convenient thing in the world. It might be better to have them close. But then we have to like dodge around all of these. So yeah, I think we'll just have them over here and have some relatively long belts. Having relatively long belts never broke anything. So we fill in this space. And blueprints. Actually, it's convenient enough that I want to go here. Load up the 4X packager blueprint and change the recipes in them to unpackaged fuel, unpackaged fuel, unpackaged fuel, and unpackaged fuel. Alright, so we have those recipes in. And now we can save this, call it 4x unpackager. Fuel unpackaging recipe. Alright, so we do that. Then we get rid of that. So we get 4x unpackager. And we need to figure out which side is which. That's the output side, which means it is backwards. So those go in there. And let's just place them like that. And I think just having them as a single row of 10 will be most convenient for this. And leave some spaces in between them for moving stuff in and out. So this is going to be quite wide. Alright, so we expand that out that way. And how much space are we leaving? Just one full foundation of space. Should be easy to do. And we keep placing these in. There we go. So that's 3. Then we get a third, or a fourth, I can count. No, that's number 4. And these keep on going over this way, which means we need even more foundation. Alright, so that keeps going. And that keeps going. Then we go that. Line it up. Push it over 1. Is that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, that's 5, so we're halfway there. And I think it'll be convenient to keep this centered by going off this way, so that it doesn't stretch like all the way off to the other side of infinity. Nice and symmetrical. So that goes over there. Then we get this in. And we line it up there. So that's 6. And another one. Seven. Okay, we're low on something. Also starting to get low on concrete, which is not terribly surprising with the amount of foundations I've been building. Yeah, low on steel beams, but just about to recover. Although it is unfortunate because we are going to need a lot of steel beams for the next step after this as well, which is a bit of a problem. So how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could have sworn it was 9, but whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, it's 8. Alright, now if I stand here, I think I want the next 2 to go on that side. So I should confirm that this is set up right. Yeah, it is. Cool. Had a brief minute of worry that I placed all of these in backwards and it was about to be a huge catastrophe. The steel is recovering, but very slowly, unfortunately. So we need another like 200 steel in order for that to be fine. Everything else is doing great. I might... Well, copper sheets and encased industrial beams are full. I might pull them in. Although I probably don't even need encased industrial beams, come to think of it. Just because I'm not really using tier 4 belts in this. Alright. How is steel? It's up to 100. We might be maxing out like the amount of steel we have in production at all, not just coming through the dimensional storage. Alright, so that's number 9. And we need one more, which will be the 10th and last one. So let's expand this foundation out wide enough to manage that. Hello, I'm doing pretty good. We are building a gigantic diluted packaged fuel factory to solve all of our power needs. Thank you for the follow. Alright, steel is up to the 60s. That's good. So we just need to get steel up to the 100s before we can place the last one of these. And technically we are wasting a lot of steel by building this second side, which probably should have bothered to fix that. Just got the game recommended to you? Yeah, it's a fun game. I would also recommend it to you. Basically, you build factories, and right now I am building a giant fuel factory so that I can build a power plant off of it and keep all of the other factories running. So let me have this, which goes in there, and that is the last one of those. Alright, so now I have all of these. So, I need to get the packaged fuel into them. How many do you have? I have quite a lot. This current save is 42 hours. The save before that was 206 hours. And the save before that was 105. So yeah, I've been playing a while. Alright, so we need to get all of those belts into these splitters, which should be pretty easy, assuming the steel supplies last. And we're up to 80 steel, which is not terrible, but probably not going to be enough. So let's pop that in. I've been streaming for a good, probably half a year at this point. I don't know, I haven't exactly been keeping track, but quite a while. So we can just put all of these on. I don't know exactly where they're facing, but something like that. And that. And that. And then these last three weird ones back here. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, that's interesting. Apparently a lot of people started streaming during the COVID days. So we have to bring all of these belts along. And all those belts along. Alright, so then that one can just go into the absolute closest one for it. Alright, then these come along here. That goes into there. And then this one can come along here. Alright. The steel reserves are already starting to run dry. Should be able to finish this belt. Ooh, 11, 12, in. Alright, so that's all of those. And then we need to get the other half, slightly more than half, into all of those, which is going to involve waiting for the steel to show back up again. In the meantime, let's go down and check how many canisters we have and how much power is in our batteries, because that is going to determine whether we can actually get this thing fully activated and running. Alright, so down here we have a couple stacks of canisters, and our batteries are only at 38% power. Alright. Yeah, I figured. Alright. 38% power. How much do we have? 39 megawatts. And we use like 39 megawatt hours. It might not be enough. You might have a serious problem turning this on. Now what we can do is we can stagger the activation like bit by bit, so that only some things get turned on at a time. And that would help, because otherwise it's going to be a while before all this. Although actually, come to think of it, the empty canisters can provide a good, convenient way of limiting how much of the factory turns on at once. Because if I only put in empty canisters into one of these setups, like, it won't start and turn on the entire gigantic power plant all at once, you know? So that should be fine then. We can just do that. Steel beams are up to 147, which is enough that it's probably worthwhile to start placing them. So that goes in there. Then I think these far ones go to the middle ones. I don't know. It's not a huge deal which ones go where, although we might want to try to make each batch of canisters like self-contained so that they're not passing between different ones. Although if we do have them deliberately passing between different ones, then that could be a cool way of automatically filling the canisters into the system. But I think at the moment I don't want to automatically fill the canisters into this system. I think I just want them to, at least for the beginning, like while we don't have enough power to run the entire factory simultaneously, I don't want to be using canisters for that, because it might get out of hand. Alright, so then that belt goes into there. Then I guess we grab this one. And we're out of steel beams again. So yeah, what I think I want to do is try to make sure that, like, this, say this one, for example, it is getting its canisters, it's getting its fuel packaging from back there. So I think I want it to send the empty canisters back to that one and not to some other one. So yeah. Just gonna have to wait a little bit. I guess we can fill out the foundations on this side because there's a huge amount of fuel generator placement that needs to happen, which is going to require a huge amount of space and thus a huge amount of concrete. So we may as well just like randomly expand this area out. I don't know how many generators we need per batch, but I think we are going to do it like on a batch by batch thing. So like this pipe is going to go into however many generators. So let's expand all of this out. Just use up as much concrete as we can so that when it refills, it will do the maximum possible value. Alright, so this goes along. Alright, so that is a whole lot of concrete used. And steel beams are back up to probably enough to finish, or at least get close to finishing. Alright, so then this comes along there and goes in that. And then we grab this one. And it is going to come along here. And along there. And then go in. And then there's just one more, which reaches that last one. So we just bring this along. And we're going to have to use some concrete here, unfortunately. Just in order to place that. So this comes all the way over here. And I think we're just going to barely fall short of steel beams, but like short enough, close enough that it's going to be worth just sitting here and waiting for the next 10 or so. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Alright, there we go. So that is all of the packaged fuel to the unpackagers done. The next step is the unpackagers back, the empty canisters back to the water packagers, which are, I believe, all over there. Which is going to require even more steel beams. Hooray. And we've used most of our concrete as well, so we can't expand this out. So I guess what I can do is, first of all, fill in that random little hole. That's a safety hazard. And then I can go over here to this one, which is going to be sort of my test setup. So this has 240 fuel, and we get a fuel generator in, and that's 20 per minute for fuel, which means we need a row of 12 of these. And we can make a blueprint for 2 of them, I think. The blueprint designer needs steel beams. Alright, we're going to place that and then make sure to deconstruct it. Alright. So, fuel powered generator. Oh, we don't have tier 2 blueprint designer yet, which means we can't even make one of these for 2 blueprint designers, right? Like, I think, yeah, no, we definitely can't. Which means we're just gonna have to go for 1 each, which is a shame. So then this has the pipe, which goes across it. And that goes in. And then we just need a power line coming out. 1x fuel generator. You spell. Save. Clear. Get rid of the blueprint designer. Alright, let's put some foundation in there just for that. And then we have this blueprint, which is literally just a fuel generator, but better. Alright, so then we line this up somewhat like that. Maybe should be fine. And then we take that pipe, send it in there. And then this will go all the way across until it's all ready. We're going to need 12 of those per one of these, which means, what, 120 fuel generators? It's pretty good. Pretty good, respectable amount of fuel generators. Are we going to run into that arch? Surely not, right? I mean, it's only 12 long, and it's not huge. It's not small, but it's not huge either. Alright, so I think we just continue building this one out so we can have at least one set of the factory done. We're coming up on the end of this stream. I want to keep working and, more importantly, really keep generating resources through the dimensional storage. So we have that one. Set these 2 auto-connect, of course. And make sure they line up properly. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And how on earth does that line up like that? 5. And 6. Seven. And 8. We need to expand this out even more. Alright. Then we go here and line it up. 9, 10. And one more. 11. Last one needs like 1 or 2 more rows of foundation. And 12. If I did the math right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright, I did do the math right, which means that this is as long as this has to go. And our steel beam supply is going quite well. Concrete supply is not. But let's, I guess, start bringing the steel back. I just realized we're going to need concrete to cover over those, which means that this is going to be very difficult to do. So we have 3 rows of 3 and 1. So I can at least get these back to like around here-ish. And we're not like completely out of concrete. We have a good couple rows in us. Alright, so then this is the empty canister output. So it comes around this way. And it's just gonna go up over that. And yeah, do something probably. Then we have this one. Let's start with all the stuff back in this part so that we can work on over there once we have the concrete to build stuff. Alright, so then that goes up and over. I think probably we are just going to have all of these at the second. How did you get all the way up here? There's no way that that's possible. You must have glitched up. Like, it is simply impossible for a spitter to have gotten up. This place is very high. Alright, so then these keep going up 1 tick. And another couple. So with these being up a tick, there shouldn't be any problems with spacing and like them running into other things, which is why I'm doing this. And they'll just have to worry about not running into each other. That's that. And then there's these ones which are far on this side. So those go up and across. And then there's these ones which go up and across. I do need to fill in just like a row of foundations in this area, just so that it's wide enough to do stuff. Up. And what would be across if there anything there. And then this last one just comes out and up and over this way. Alright. So now we have all of these. Steel beam supply still looking quite strong. Concrete supply looking fine. Take from depot before inventory. That'll help that last a little bit longer maybe. Alright. let's then go over and try to figure out where all these need to go down. So it's going to be over here in this giant mass of these things. And this row here is going to be one of them. So we need to fill out this row and put the floor holes on it, and that'll be one of them. Then we need to go over there and just get one of those. Then we go over here, and this row, extend that one out. And then finally there is this row over here. So it's right on the edge of two rows, so I'm going to have to cover both of them. Alright, that is theoretically like the bare minimum foundations needed. Now we drop down here and start bringing all this stuff up. So that goes up there, and what? Oh, I hit hide HUD. That was confusing. So we get that one in. Then we go over here, and we go up there. Put the hole in. And bring that down. And one more over. Which goes up there. Put the hole in. Bring that down. Alright, so that is that row. Next up, we get this row. And I guess we'll go from this way over. So we go here. And up. Hole in. And lift down. Then we go over here. Lift up. And pull in, lift down, and then one more. We have this one, which is lift up, pull in, lift down. All right, one last row, and then the extra special little guy. So that goes up. Hole goes in, and conveyor lift comes down. Then we do it for this one. It goes up. Hole goes in. Lift comes down. Then we go across to here. That goes up. Hole goes in. I think that's correct. Yes. Lift comes down. And that's the last of those. Now there is just the overflow one here. So that goes up. That goes in. That comes down. All right. So that's all of those in. Now we just need to get up here, which we can easily do with the jetpack, which is why I love the jetpack. Alright, so now we have all of these. And theoretically, I should be worrying about where they go, like which ones they go into and which ones they don't. Also, seriously, how is this guy still up here? I guess he can stay. He's not doing anything wrong. But it is a bit weird for him to be just around. All right, let's see. So if I wanted to do this properly, quote unquote, this one comes along here, and it gets its fuel packaging from this row, which gets its water from this one. So that has to go over here. And we run this belt along. And keep running the belt along. And we're going to need some foundations over here for it to go on. Then it can come along here. And there. And now that's connected up. So that should loop the same canisters around within it. Next we have this one. This one gets its canisters from here. So we follow this belt along, and it's this one, which is going to be a bit hard to track. There's that one, which means this batch gets its packaged water from, follow this belt, follow this belt all the way back to this batch, and this batch goes up there. Wait, is it? No, that's wrong, right? Hang on. I'm confused. I've officially confused myself. So it's this batch is where the packaged fuel goes out, right? Or the packaged water goes out. Which means that in order for this to be a loop, it needs to be this one. So this is the second from the left. And let's just fly up real quick. This is kind of annoying to do it this way, but it'll make my life way easier when it comes to fixing bugs. To know that if there's a canister shortage in one thing, it's not going to like weirdly propagate around any. It's just going to be in the one spot. All right, so then this goes along this way. And here it goes up. And it's just going to stay up and go into that. All right, so that is 2 of these set up, 8 to go. So this one, it gets its packaged fuel from there. And that gets its packaged water from that one. Meaning that this has to send its empty canisters over to the special rounding error one. Right. So this goes... It's going to have just stay up pretty much this entire way. Alright, and then here we go. And put that in and connect her up. Alright, so that's another one down. And we're not going to finish today, but we are going to keep working. So then we have that one, which connects into that one. And we're going to have to keep track of that one. Alright. So this is the output of this batch. This batch receives its packaged water from this belt. So we follow this belt along and keep on following it. And it goes all the way back here and is the output of this set of packagers, which means that the packaged water needs to go there. So now we fly up, and it'd be more convenient if I had turbo fuel at this point, but I don't, so here we are. Alright, then this just comes around this way. And keeps going. And let's fill that in so that this has something to stand on. And now we go up. And it's this one which hasn't been connected to anything yet. Alright, so that goes in there. Gosh, this is more work than I expected, honestly. Also, the Dimensional Depot steel beam supply is not doing great. We have the backups that we pulled into our inventory, fortunately. Alright, so we have this, which gets its stuff from... So its packaged fuel comes from all the way back here, which should mean this is relatively easy to find. So this one gets its water from that first batch, which means it has to go here. Nice and simple. So now this comes along here, and just keep on bringing this along. Then we are going to need to go up and over that belt into there. Alright, we're like halfway done with this, and it's not so hard. So then we have this one. So it gets its packaged fuel from this one right here, which is unfortunately going to be somewhat complicated to track. Actually, it's going to be easiest to just poke a hole in the floor here. Alright, so this corresponds to this set, which gets its packaged water from here. So we follow this belt along. Follow this belt along, and it is the very last one, I believe. It's this set, which means that they have to go up there. Alright. Got to go up here. Good news is we are running out of the ones that are this far back, so that's nice. There's only a couple left that are super far back here. There are plenty that are a little far back here. Alright, so then this just keeps going along. It's just pretty much just going to get a straight shot up there. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4 left. So this one gets its packaged fuel from here, which we follow this along, goes there, which is this set of refineries, which gets its packaged water from this belt here, which, just follow it along, corresponds with this set of water packagers, which means that we have this one. This is the one that we need to send them to. Alright, so do that. And now this comes along. It's going to need to go up to get over those. And then it can go back down again for a little bit. Oh, that's barely like a millimeter too long. So this keeps coming. And then we have to go back up again, which makes going down there somewhat pointless. And then that hooks into that. Alright. 3 more of these to go, and we're doing just fine. So this one is the next one, and it gets its packaged fuel from this one right here, which is corresponding to this set of refineries, which gets their packaged water from this belt. We're going to follow this belt along, and it's this one on the far right. I hope. Should become clear if I make a mistake, at least, when I follow another one and get the same answer. Alright, so yeah, it's this one all the way back here. So, we put the conveyor lift on, and now this gets to go over. So over we go. And keep on going. Alright, you go up over that. Then we're basically there, so you may as well stay up. And go in. Alright, 2 more to go. So we have this one. And it goes along this belt and down to this. So that's this set of refineries here. Alright, then they get their packaged water from this belt. So we follow this belt along. It's this inside one this time. And that's this set of packagers, which means that belt up there. So let's fly on up. And pop that in. So now we just have to bring this along. And this will be the second to last one, I believe. Alright, so let's try to just stay underneath that one, I guess. Until, of course, this part where we have to go up. There we go. And now there's just this last one, which no need to check. There's only one option. It comes back here and goes along this way. Let's build some foundations in this area for it to stand on. Alright, then it crosses over here. And where exactly is... I know the general vicinity of where we're going, but I don't know exactly where the hole is, and it's going to be a bit hard to find because there it is. Alright, I see it. That goes up over all of those. And then down there. And then finally in that. Alright. So that is all that. And assuming I haven't made a mistake, that should be all of the packaged water distributed properly. So, what is left to do? We need to place in all of the fuel generators and the water extractors. And genuinely, that's, I believe, it. Just fuel generators and water extractors left to go. So, yeah, I think we're gonna call it there. Let's grab some of these things into our inventory, just to save time next time when we're gonna need that. We're gonna need copper sheets for the fuel generators and the water extractors, but we're gonna need rotors probably. It should be fine, but you never know. And motors as well. And yeah, so it's 4:53, and we're at a pretty good stopping point. So I think we're going to end the stream there. So on Monday, we should finish this off. I mean, I've done one of the 10 rows, and it didn't take me that long. So yeah, just about done. We have a lot of this to do, and the empty canisters are going to be a pain to fill. Like, we're going to have to basically just manually do that, which is going to suck. But other than that is going to be the one big tedious thing, which also is going to require a huge amount of empty canisters, which I don't currently have. But this should be just about done, and then we just run along, power everything up, which will be helped by the fact that most of these are blueprinted with power lines set up already. And then this will be finished, and we will have a lot of power. Let's see, how much power will we have? So these are 12 long, and we're going to have 10 of them, so 120 total. And they each produce 250. So 120 times 250 is 30,000, which is pretty good. Our current power grid is like 5,000 or 6,000. So yeah, suffice it to say this is a major upgrade. Alright, so that's gonna be about it. Thanks everyone for watching. Had a good time today. I will see you on Monday. I stream from 2 to 5 Eastern Time every weekday. Tuesdays and Thursdays I play Foundry, which is a early access factory building game, somewhat similar to this. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday I play Satisfactory. So yeah, if you're interested in either of that, make sure to stop by in the future. And follow if you haven't already, and I will see you guys then.